In a previous video, I showed you how to use n8n's native HTTP node in combination with the AI agents that come with n8n to intelligently crawl any website, real-time crawling to find any information. This is part 2, an extension of the AI scraping course in our community. Now we are going to have a look at Crawl for AI, a different open source tool which is completely free, except of course the hosting charges you pay for hosting the service itself. 2 workflows. One is actually scanning a whole website and then using a chat agent to use the website content as the knowledge and to chat with the website. The second flow is doing the real-time search, but using Crawl for AI instead of using HTTP node. We are using completely open source tools. One is Crawl for AI to actually crawl the website, and also using a private search engine, not having to pay for something like programmable Google search or an API. So if I search, for example, then you can see here the start page, Google, it's a meta search engine. So it goes through all the other search engines. It searches on Brave, DuckDuckGo, Google, etc. So this is what we are going to use for search, also in combination with Crawl for AI. We have all the prompts and everything and all the courses here. We have n8n agent builds, AI scraping. This is what we are going to discuss in this video. Let me demo the first portion of the workflow. I have indexed this resorts website about 10 to 15 pages, I think. What are your room rates and what kind of rooms do you have? You can see that it's going through the knowledge base and the whole website is indexed on Supabase. There you go. It has come back with the Lagoon Superior and different types of rooms. And for more detailed information, consider contacting. It has given me a contact number and room and suite section. In here, in this section, can you find the contact details of owner of this website? That is not a catch-all email. Needs to be person's business. Check mail to tags. So this is a generic crawl agent. If you want, you can make it as personalized crawl agent. So most of the instructions go in user message here. If there are multiple people, find them all. Crawl any URLs that you think may contain more people. I'll put this prompt as well in our community so you can copy from there. You must show the source where the email was found. Let's just run it. It's scrolling through the website in real time right now. You can see that it's going through URLs. It's going through the homepage and jobs, contacts, about page, our work, and it's also searching Instagram, LinkedIn, may also search Twitter. All right, so now it has come up back with Sally Coranda, founding partner and director. It will give me a LinkedIn. Yep, that is correct. But we should be sure to use a good model here though. Chris Coranda, managing director. That's the company's Instagram page. Zoo, linkedin.com, interact. That is correct as well. LinkedIn email, social media not found for her. India at interacthealthy.com from LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn not directly found, but it has found a post or something perhaps. Email not directly found. Summary of social media presence. Instagram presence. The Interact team is notably engaged in Instagram. So you can use it for all sorts of like company research and stuff like that. The possibilities are endless. You have like their extracurricular activities and their more projects they're involved in as well. Let's go through the first flow, how to scan the entire website. So we have the first node as a trigger node, which is a form submission node. That is this node here. Add another trigger, and then you click on form submission, that appears. And here, what you do is, there's no authentication. You give a form title, form description, add a field name, link, element type, text, placeholder URL. So if I test that, I'm just going to say HTTPS the resource website, and I'm going to submit that. And now I'm going to pin that data so you can see that link is coming through. And the next is an HTTP node that submits a request to Crawl for AI. So you need to actually first host this Crawl for AI open source tool, which you can find under. This is the Crawl for AI documentation here. docs.crawlforai.com, open source LLM friendly web crawler and scraper, how to set it up. You simply go to Docker deployment, and you can, if you are technically savvy, you can customize it, do all sorts of things. But to show you very quickly basic run, if you copy, come down to installation, option 1 using pre-built Docker Hub images. If you just copy this basic command here and then go to your terminal and paste that in there and enter. Of course, my Docker is not open. Start Docker. First, if you don't have Docker. Let's go to Docker and download the macOS version for whichever chip that you're using, Apple Silicon or Intel chip, or for Windows. And once that is done, you start Docker like that, and it will appear in the toolbar over here. It'll be slightly different for Windows, but the same concept. And then you go to try running that again. Yeah, I already have a container already running. So when you do that, I'll show you. So if I stop that, I'll remove that, delete forever, then run that again. I have that. It's started already. It will take a while, 2-3 minutes when you run for the first time. And now that's the port there. And if I open a Chrome and go to localhost HTTP, you will see this Crawl4AI playground. But obviously, if you are not using something like ngrok, you won't be able to publicly access it. That's why you have to host it on something like DigitalOcean. I personally use this service called Hetzner. You get very generous, very cheap virtual CPUs and virtual memories there. Or you can use something like Railway, which is a usage-based platform. Let me just show you very quickly how you will do it on Railway. So let's first install Crawl4AI. I'm going to show you with Railway. Very easy, cheap as well, but you still have to keep an eye on the expenses. Go ahead and sign up for Railway. They do have different pricing models here. $5 a month is enough, the minimum payment. We'll set a hard limit so it doesn't go beyond that limit. If you're more comfortable with managing VPS, you can use DigitalOcean, or I personally use a service called Hetzner, not usage-based. No matter how much ever you use, it won't go beyond that limit. We will install the Crawl4AI service. Services, this is Railway. Go ahead and sign up. You probably will have to sign up for the hobby package. You get about 500 MB of RAM in the free tier, which is not enough. You probably need 2 or 4 gig of memory. So for that, go ahead and sign up for the $5 plan and come here under usage and set the limit as $10, at which point all your services will stop. This is a hard limit here, and you can also set up an email alert for this. Because I use a separate Hetzner VPS, I don't use Railway as much, but I do use it for quick demonstration to my clients. The next thing you will have to do is to create a project in your dashboard. Select create new project and select empty project. And once your project is created, you're going to come back to Docker image for Crawl4AI and select that last part from there and come to our Railway, add a service, click on add new service and select Docker image and paste that there and press enter and deploy that. And I'm going to change the name of this project to maybe n8n demo update. While that is getting added, add another service. You come here and come to template. You have so many services here like n8n itself and so many other open source tools. So we are going to search for cirxng. Click on deploy template. Right. So this is our stack, Crawl4AI and cirxng. Crawl4AI is now finished. So if you click on that, that will open like that. Go to settings. You need to click on generate domain and you need to change the port here because somehow it doesn't actually detect the actual port. So click on custom port and type in 11235. That's the port where Crawl4AI runs, and update that. Then if you click on the link, you will be taken to Crawl4AI playground. And for example, if I take this, let's say I want to crawl the about page of our community, I can go to the playground here and I can just say, this is to just play around with the configuration and how to create sample requests and stuff like that. Run, and there you go. It's been scraped. You get markdown links, all the links inside, etc. And one other thing that I'd like to do with Railway is that if I go here, go to settings, I like to get the memory down to like 4 gig. That's enough. And also for virtual CPU, to keep our costs low. cirxng, our private search engine, that is finished now. Go to settings and now click on that. And you'll see the search engine. If I search for AI automation, it will pretty much work like Google. You can see the autocomplete and stuff like that. AI automation, go ahead. So that is our private search engine. Once that is done, what we are going to do is to set up our HTTP node to crawl, to start crawling our website. We are trying to index the whole website. What you do is you create a new HTTP node. So that's the HTTP request node. And then once you create that, the URL is the URL of our deployment, which is this URL here, and paste that there. And there's no authentication. Enable send body, go to crawl HTTP node and copy that JSON from there. So that's the JSON that goes in here under body JSON. You don't have to touch anything else. Set up Supabase now to vectorize it. If you don't have a Supabase account, go ahead and go to supabase.com and go ahead and create a new account. And after that, create a new project and give a password, etc. A10 demo and create a new project. We have now a new project. Come down to project settings, data API. We have the project API key section here and the project URL. You add a Supabase vector store, click on add documents to vector store. So that's how you create this next node here. So I'm going to delete this and connect to it. Once connected, you'll need to create a new Supabase credential. So create a new credential, go to Supabase, copy this URL, and that will go to the host bit of it, and the service role that is reveal and copy, and that will go here. And once you save it, it should get connected. So connection tested successfully. Close that. Next is to set up the vector store. Click on the docs on the node itself. What we are interested in right now is Supabase provides a quick start for setting up your vector store. Click on that URL here, and you have this LangChain documentation. And under initializing your database, there is a SQL block, and there's a copy button over here. Copy the whole thing and come back to our Supabase project and go to the sidebar menu and click on SQL editor and copy the whole thing, that be the query block that we copied from the documentation, and click run here. That should create everything that we need to store the website data as vectors in Supabase. So coming back to our workflow, click on that again, select documents, and that is the function that is also created to match the vectors. We have to create documents and embedding batch size 200, leave it on the default value there. When you add the node, these two, the model and the data loader, you need to add it. So for this, it's just OpenAI embedding, and add your OpenAI account, API keys if you don't have that. So it will be like that. Just enter the API key over there and select text embedding 3 small. I'm just going to connect it to my existing one, and this one is a data loader. So click on that and click default data loader. So that's this one here, and in that you need to select the type of data. You can leave it on default. You need to change this to load specific data, and that will be the URL which is coming from the previous node once it is run. So for example, if I were to just give a link manually here, let's use my website here to test the URL, which is https developmvp.com, and test that. And now you have the scraped URLs. We're going to connect that to the Supabase vector store, and then that will be available in the default vector store. So for example, this is the markdown that is extracted from the Crawl4AI output, which is, if you go to schema, select schema here. So it has crawled about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. We are going to store the markdown, which is the raw markdown, this thing here, drag and drop there. And then the URL is basically the URL here. This is in the metadata. Just drag and drop and also type in links. We are going to store all the links that has been extracted from the page, which will be available in the links object here. You have internal and external links. That will drag the whole links object into the links metadata. So that's the setup of the default data loader. When you configure the default data loader, you'll have to add a text splitter. It will be like this. And then you'll have to add a text splitter. I'm just selecting the character text splitter. If the page is really long, you can't store the entire 3000 word article because the embeddings API from OpenAI has a maximum token limit. To stay within that token limit, you're breaking down basically the document into multiple chunks and providing an overlap between these chunks to let the AI know that these are related. So the chunk overlap size is 300 characters and the chunk size itself is 1,000 characters. Unpin this and test the workflow from the very beginning. In Supabase, we have the documents table that is created. This is where the vectors will be stored. This table was created when we ran that SQL query that we copied from the documentation. This one here creates a table and also creates a function to search for vectors. Make sure that in the JSON, I want to create a max depth and max pages to crawl. I'm going to limit that to 50 and max depth to 2. Beyond 3, the number of links go exponentially after that. So I'll just stick to 2 and max pages 50 to crawl for testing purposes. That should be JSON link, which will come from the form submission here. Test workflow, going to paste the resource website, put your website's URL over there and click submit. And that should kick off the workflow. So that failed. This means that it ran out of memory. Go to settings, increase that up to 8 and 8 memory. Deploy that, kick that off once again. Let's wait for that to fit the logs. Yeah, it started scraping now. So it has now hit the 50-page limit. Now the crawler has got all the data and the data is being loaded as vectors into the Supabase database. And you will see new rows appearing here. So these are the vectors in embeddings field here. You have metadata and the chunks of text themselves in the content. Let's wait for that to finish. That's finished now. Come back to this area here. So we need a open chat trigger. That is this chat trigger over here. And you need to create an advanced AI agent after that. And that's this node over here. And the prompt here, you can copy from the chat agent. That is the system message and that is the user message. You can copy those prompts into here. The prompt will go here as the user message and the system message here. Call the knowledge tool to retrieve the knowledge around user's query and then answer. And then user's query is that. From the chat trigger, open chat, what are your room rates? And that will be that user's query. If I connect that to the AI agent, the user's query will be, what are your room rates here? Under tools, you have Supabase Vector Store again. You add another tool there, and then you select retrieve documents as tool for AI agent, and then call this company knowledge base or knowledge tool or something like that. Knowledge tool, and change this as well to knowledge tool. The description can be something like this. Call to get context and long-term memory to answer users' queries and FAQs. And from list, you select that Supabase table that we just created. I usually put it like 10 or something like that, and include metadata as well, which will be the page URL and the links from the page. That is that tool over there, basically, that I created. And if I issue the chat request again, rerun it, now the agent is retrieving from Supabase vector statements. All right, I need to use the same Supabase account. So here now it answers the room rates at Dana vary by room type. For exact rates, the resort encourages checking current promotions and offers and gives you a link as well. If you want, you can also add a memory here, and that becomes a chat with website flow here. What are the special offers and rates for rooms? Information on pay now, stay later plan. That is the offer. You can explore their resort room promotions here and gives the link. That is why I give the extra bit of prompt here. Don't refer the user to another page to find the information there. Instead, use the get contents of URL tool to visit the page and extract the information. Because we limited the website to only 50 pages to crawl, it might not have indexed all the information. So if I add this crawling just one URL tool as well, which does extract the contents of a specific URL, it should call that tool to get contents if it doesn't have that information in the indexed data. Let's start a new session. So it's also crawling that extra web link now, in addition to the vector store. All right. Now what's it saying? Currently it offers a variety of special promotions and room rates, which include resort room promotion, special deals for booking resort rooms, family holiday promotion. So it goes a level deep further, enriches the data with real-time crawling as well. In this case, it looked up that one specific URL, special offers. It did recognize there were some special offers, but because we didn't crawl the entire website, it didn't have that information. In that situation, it went to call this get contents of a URL, and the past URL was Furama special offers. In the next video, we will have a look at the real-time crawling section. We will use a lead enrichment example or lead finding example. Given a website, find the leads or the owners of these websites and get the emails. In this case, we are indexing the whole website and storing in a vector database, enriching that with the real-time crawling. But in this section, we are using an intermediate crawl agent, which will look through all the relevant links that may satisfy the user's query. I'm going to borrow this chat input that may satisfy the user's query and crawl that in real time to find the information. It browses through the website to find the information. The crawl agent is an AI agent again. You can get the prompt for the crawl agent here in real-time crawl agent, AI scraping course and real-time crawling agent. You have the prompt and the system message there that will go into the prompt user message and the system message there. I have this prompt here that I want to try out. This is a generic browsing agent. So if I want to just reset the chat session. So this is a message. Can you find the contact details of owner for this website? That is not a catch-all email address. HTTPS interacthealthy.com. Needs to be a person's business email. Look for business emails of personals. Check mail to tags. Use people. Because this is a generic agent, most of the specific instructions go in the user's message. You can also create specialized browse agents, especially for lead generation or lead enrichment workflows, which is soon coming to my other workflow here. I'll be hooking it up to the 3-in-1 lead generation workflow here. In addition, search for the user on LinkedIn and Instagram, also on x.com. At that point, it will use the search engine service, which is this tool here. Let's just submit it. So the crawl agent will crawl this URL, crawl and find information. Can you find contact details of the owner of this website? That is not catch-all, interacthealthy.com. Let's go into the get content section of URL tool. So that is a tool in call N8N workflow tool. And once you connect that, rename the title, give the name as get contents of URL, description as call this URL to get the content of a link URL, and source is database, and I'm putting it as a sub workflow in the same crawl for AI workflow. So that will be, if I do from list crawl for AI, that will be the same name as this. Then you create a new trigger, which is when executed by another workflow. That will be this node here. The next one is an HTTP request, which is our Railway installation for crawl for AI, that URL over there. Copy that, but without the playground, that will be crawl at the end. So paste that there, and don't forget to add the crawl at the end. Here should be crawl, and no authentication is set up right now, and the JSON is here again on our get contents of URL. I need a new page for that. So that should be the body, and I should also, you don't actually need this part because that will be just URLs. To get a sense of these JSONs, you can actually go to the crawl for AI playground. If you just hit your URL here on your Railway deployment, it should take you to the playground. And if I say something like my website developmvp.com and I run that, I get the results. And if you click on curl, that's the curl command. That's the request. Copy that. And if in doubt, you just create a new node called new HTTP request node and click on import curl and paste that curl command and import it. And then now you have everything filled in. What you need to do after this is that you don't really need all this, just to replace the URLs that is being passed. That's what this part is. I'm just going to overwrite that, delete that. So that's already pre-filled in here. I'm going to just pass in the URLs. And if you want to test it, I can just open this, give a test data. You need to give it like this, right? And it will be an array, something like that. Save, test it again. Now it has got that develop MVP result 0. We are not crawling in this instance. We are just getting that one single URL content. So that's why I deleted the other parameters from here, just kept the URLs. So that's how that will work. And we have a set node after that. We are just taking the content and the links from the result of the crawl, naming it as a content and links, drag and drop that markdown, raw markdown here, like that, and links, same way, drag and drop links over there. That's what will be sent back, content and links, as part of that sub workflow. So that sub workflow is the tool that is called by the crawl agent to get the content of a single URL. Let me unpin the test data here and allow it to pass in the initial website, which is the interacthealthy.com, that website there. The second tool is a search tool, which is basically the search engine. In our railway stack, we have the search service installed. So if you go there, this is our private search engine. This is used by the social media extraction. In the URL for the search engine, you can append a query parameter like that, AI makers, for example. And then that will return the results. We are going to give that URL as the tool URL in our search tool. If you enable format, JSON format in your private search engine, you can do that as well, but that's not mandatory, in which case it will look like search, something like that. So the results will be returned as a JSON. It's not really necessary. You can actually delete it if you want. Actually, I'm going to delete it. And again, this is a tool, HTTP request tool, the search tool. The method will be get, and the URL would be the railway search G URL here. Let me just copy that and go back here and then replace that with that. Q will be provided by the model, and content type, can delete that as well. I've added 2 more nodes. I'm using 4.1. I found that to be a little bit better, and also I'm using, instead of a memory, I'm using a think tool too, which is a recent addition to n8n, so that it can store the plan of action in this tool as intermediate steps. Let's run that and I'll show you what happens in the backend. The think tool is something like to find the owner's contact details, non-catch-all. I need to crawl interacthealthy.com for obvious contact details, including mail to staff, owner names, identify about team contact. For all identified people, search on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter profiles, etc. It's crawling through the website with these URLs, homepage, and then different blogs, blog posts, and more blog posts. So these are not pre-crawled, it's crawling on the fly. It has identified some. It's also searching for these people here on LinkedIn, Interact Healthy, all these people on for X, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Because this is a generic crawl agent, most of the instructions are in the user prompt here. You can also turn this into a custom agent that does lead enrichment. Then a lot of these instructions can be moved into the prompt in the agent itself. It's doing all the search, and then it's thinking again. So it's thought to find. Second one was pause for intermediate summary. I have deeply crawled the main website and key subpages. Third one, the main websites list only contact, catch-all address, and I think it's finalizing the search. All right, now we have a table. It comes with Sally Correa, founder and director. We have LinkedIn for each one of them, and we have Instagram none found for Sally, for Christopher, Mark. We have some Twitter, no direct business, but found direct business contact found for India Beckwith. Source is website, channel press. It's taken from this LinkedIn article, I think. It has found the media contact section here. That email is taken from there. So you know how to use this into your lead enrichment systems. It's very smart, especially when you have a good prompt. These are their LinkedIn pages, a LinkedIn press release, company blog. The only non-catch-all direct business email for a real person at Interact Healthy is India Beckwith, marketing manager. Also found the company handles, not the UAE agency. So you can DM as well if you can't find the emails for these people. But lead enrichment is not the topic of this video, but that's one of the applications of this kind of agent. You can hook this into some sort of Google Maps scraper and provide all those links, websites from Google Maps. You can pass it into this crawl agent. This is for free. Of course, you can do the same thing for the search with Perplexity or Serper and any other tool, and also by crawling the whole website intelligently. So that's the whole video about how to crawl. The first bit was about how to pre-index and chat with the website using Crawl for AI and also using a chat agent. The second one is more, it is not pre-indexed into a vector database, but it uses a crawl agent real time to using the think tool and also using smart model to find any information that needs to be extracted from a list of website. In this case, we are finding the contacts. It could be anything for structured data extraction or research, loading into a database for a SaaS application, anything of that sort. I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully you have learned something. And this will all be available in our AI scraping course. You have N8N agent builds, our POV history videos, long form SEO related, social media agents, keyword research, and topic clustering agent. More and more agents are being added. All the resources for the Skool community and all the other templates are in the description. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.